The San Jose Sharks have now lost 7 in a row. Meanwhile, the Vegas Golden Knights have won 8 in a row and are headed to the postseason once again. We'll talk about defensive mistakes and among other things, and some more kudos for Patrick Marleau right now on Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, April 21st, 2021. The Sharks get swept in Vegas. No dice. The dealer had 21 when he had 20. Those slots just didn't do anything. Oh, wait, I'm talking about my luck with in the casino. Sharks lose 5-2 to the Vegas Golden Knights. This is Teal Town After Dark. We do this after every single game, home and away. We talk about it. So if you want to be part of the show, Teal together and interact with us and fellow Sharks fans on the page or the app. Follow us on the social, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really does go a long way. SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, and of course find everything at tealtownusa.com. Good evening, everyone. Freshly off of a plane, I am Erik Kuhre at PuckGuy14. I am joined by Mr. Al Martinet. And you're on mute, bud.
That is my bad. I'm the one that's messed up. But how you doing, Puck Guy?
Well, I was going to say there's a puck possession mess up, turnover mess ups. We're trying to do a little too much here and there. You know, it's just one little thing after another. Oh, sure. Boy. But I'm doing okay. The trip was great. It was great to have a little time with the girlfriend and a little time meeting up with Hockey Jerk for a little bit yesterday. Of course, the experience at the game was great as well, albeit the loss. But it's a rough one, indeed. So let's get into.
This season's been rough, but
yeah. This is getting to the point where we're you're going 0-5-2 against Vegas, who's supposed to be your rival. I mean, it's not even a rivalry when you are 0-7 against Las Vegas. Okay, sure, like Patrick Tyler would say, there's a difference between 0-7 and 0-5-2. Yeah, you got 2 points. That's great. And you had a lead in this game. You had a lead Monday night. You had a lead the last time they were in Vegas. I think the first one when they melt down and Ryan Reeves was.
They were up 3-1 last time too.
Yeah, and they were in it against the other time, but they lost in that one. They played well in Vegas. They just have nothing really to show for it, except for 1 point. And honestly, if you're team playoffs versus team tank, that's not good enough for you.
No, and really the only time the Sharks have come up top on Vegas is that epic 7-game series against Vegas. Vegas has had the Sharks number practically every time for the past 2+ years.
Yeah, I mean, they mentioned it on the broadcast, and with the win tonight, Vegas against San Jose. Vegas is now 15-1-3 against the Sharks. Their only regulation win was in January 2019. I think that was when Jonas Donskoy scored his final regular season goal as a Shark.
I was actually at that game.
So let's get into it. Things started to look pretty good. 2.5 minutes in, Timo Meier, was kind of in a net mouth scramble. I think the puck went off of him after Shellman. Let me get it right for you, Jerk. Shellman, throws a puck on net, and good things can happen. Fleury doesn't see it. It goes in early on. It's 1-0 San Jose. I thought, okay, not bad.
Yeah, this is Timo's goal in a very, very long time. Very much like you said, just getting pucks on the net, anything can happen. and you have a 1-0 lead for your rookie goaltender and something to build off of. This is now 3 straight games where the Sharks have had the opening goal, and I don't know if they're now revolting or going back to how they were playing in mid-January, mid-April, or mid-February, where they just couldn't hold a lead, and that's really just kind of just showing on the ice right now.
Right. And it's like, okay, you got off a good start. Kosanash got to start. I thought he played spectacular, especially in that first period. What was it, 19 shots in the first?
Shots were 19-8 in the first period, and it was about the same in the second period. The Sharks did play a little bit better in the second period and in the third period. Well, not in the third period, but
right.
But the second period, I thought it was a fair game in the second period. But in the first period, it could have been far worse. And Korzanash, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right.
Kosanash.
Honestly, really impressed with his work ethic. I thought he was really aggressive. This was his second game this season compared to Jones. I don't know how many. I would have to look up the stats, but he looked fresh. He looked like he knew what he was doing. Maybe he played a little bit too aggressive at times, but honestly, it wasn't his fault for why the Sharks lost tonight.
No, I thought he played fairly well in this game. Again, like I said, 35 saves on 39 shots. I mean, yes, it's an .897 save percentage, but I thought the barrage that Vegas was putting on San Jose early on, it could have been really worse because, like Ian says in the chat, the score masked how much Vegas dominated this game.
Yeah.
Vegas was all over them early, and it's just was unacceptable to see the Sharks just come out flat again.
And
despite a 1-0 lead too, for that matter.
I mean, and this was another prime opportunity for the Sharks where the Wild lost tonight, or the Coyotes lost tonight, and they could have made up ground. And you're not going to get many opportunities, especially down the stretch. The Blues have one more game on hand for the Sharks and on Arizona. You got to win those type of games.
Yep. Yeah, and it's those things, and along with getting on the power play. I mean, you have they went, what was it tonight? They went 0 for 3 on the power play tonight. They went 0 for 2 on Monday night. 0 for 3 in the 2 games against Minnesota. So now 5, 8. So 0 for 8 in the last 4 games on the power play. Mind you, I think you were on with me at the end of the homestand. 2 for 20 on the homestand. So now in their last 9 games, the Sharks are now 2 for their last
yes
28 on the man advantage. I mean,
it's bad.
It's the offense is dry. They mentioned Evander Kane, who's been one of the highlights of the year for the Sharks. 1 goal in his last now 9 games.
Yep. One of the most consistent forwards. You can't make anything wrong. You can't say anything bad about him this season. But honestly, like, the power play has been the huge issue, and they could have actually like made it 2-1, 3-1, but like there was a power play in the second period that could have led, they could have at least generated momentum, but it just was so disastrous that led to a 2-2 tie-up game that just backfired for the Sharks right away.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that Marchessault gets the goal. I mean, Vegas always finds a way to get a bounce back. Either they get a goal, Marchessault gets his first of the game from Carlson Martinez, and then Hurdle would make it 2-1 on a nice slapper that beat Fleury. I was like, Hurdle, nice.
Yeah.
Really cool. But the thing is that the Sharks, for some reason, would take penalties against Vegas, and I saw this on Monday night in person and also tonight. would stop moving their feet, and it would end up taking penalties against against Vegas, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, Vegas knows how to work their power play, and Vegas has been struggling too. They're one of the worst power play teams in the league, and they've been struggling. And then it's like, oh,
And they have the talent to be one of the best power plays. They have top forwards. They have Mark Stone. Like honestly, like if things get going from him, I could see that being a real asset when they get into the playoffs. But to your point about the Sharks not moving their feet, like I thought Ferraro's penalty in the second period when he just decides to grab the shoulder of a Vegas forward. I'm not too sure who it was, but he's essentially just holding him. He's kind of just asking for a penalty call.
right. I want to say that was, I think it was Theodore who was
Yeah.
pinching in. On that same spot though, he tries to make up for it. I think he was pinching down like later in the game. He gets back and breaks up a play from Pietrangelo pinching up. So he can try to balance things out, but it gets into issues. Let's talk about another defenseman that had an interesting game tonight, Brent Burns.
Oh,
I,
that one.
I don't know. I don't know what kind of hit that was. I think it was just like a push into the nameplate from Pacioretty, but Pacioretty went into the boards a little weird. I mean, I've seen glitches on like NHL 21, and that looked like a glitch hit. But granted, I'm glad Max was okay. But they were a little feisty as the whistle blew after a stoppage right after that, and both of them went in for cross-checking. It seemed like he got Burns real riled up, and it started the 3,900 Vegas fans in attendance started booing. Ian, I was with you when you tweeted it out. It's like, it's nice to hear the booing because that means there's fans in the stands, which means we're getting somewhere with this thing.
Signs of the times. But no, like even if like the state of the Sharks, like I still think this is going to be one of the best rivalries in hockey. Like just the way the locations are, where fans can travel back and forth. Even for Sharks in LA, I think this is honestly like 1-2. Like these are games you honestly want to go to and experience, especially in the playoffs. Um, yeah, like I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon, even if Vegas is winning the total battle right now, 15-1.
Yeah, and that's tough. And 15-1 is just like, come on,
It's not
seriously.
much of a battle right now.
Yeah. So let's get to comments that coming in from the locker room. Bob Bugner saying Kosanash made big saves to keep us in the game. You could see he was more comfortable. We knew this would be a tough game, and he battled hard. Again, like we said, despite being 897 save percentage, he put up 35 saves on a really good squad.
Yes.
A lot of comments coming in from. Let's get to the Bugner one here. Rocky and I made the choice to switch up the D pairs in the second. We kept it because we thought we were playing better. So you saw a lot of changes with the defensive core, just to see if there's something you can do. Anything, honestly here. But like we mentioned, 2 for 28 in the last 9 games for the Sharks on the power play. Bob saying our power play has to get going. That's the difference in these tight games. You have to have good special teams when you go up against these guys. And you talk about the power play, but the penalty kill, lets in another, power play goal tonight. And again, Mark Stone, his third power play goal in 2 games, gets this one tied up at 2 after Hurdle, fires one in. Some Marlowe and Carlson. We talked about the
Yeah.
Ferraro penalty, and then Stone from Pacioretty and Theodore. That ends up being Pacioretty's 600th point in the NHL. But Mark Stone, pretty special guy.
Yeah, he does. He's been doing most of his damage in front of the net, similar to a former Sharks forward, tipping the puck in front of the net. He had an awesome, simply just kind of dunking on Korzanash. he's been one of the most underrated players in the NHL for quite a long time. Some of that's playing in Ottawa, but once he's gone into Vegas, um, yeah, he's been really been taking off. Even Pacioretty, I've really liked his game. So Vegas is stacked with forwards, and even their defensive core is lined up. So it's really their only major flaw is, can they get consistent goaltending? Um, I'm sure they can get it with Fleury, but um,
And
that's still like that's their major flaw right now.
and goaltending wise, they're fairly solid though. I mean, a great combo between Fleury and Robin Leonard. We'll talk about what went wrong with Robin Leonard later on, but I mean, they're not going to be affected by the expansion draft, so they can afford to have a good strong goaltending. I mean, the thing is, it's just you know that's the same play we saw Stone do the other night. You have to look at the film and kind of have your defense help him out. It can't be just Jones or Koshinash. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just,
The thing, if you look at cap friendly, like the Vegas only pays their top defenseman is 8.8 million. That's Pietrangelo.
Petrangelo,
Um,
yeah.
but like everything else, it's forward based, keeping the puck, controlling the neutral zone. Um, that's how the Sharks used to build their core around. But like they made a huge bet, and they're going to be paying it for a long time.
Yeah. And that's the bed that we've made. And that's how they got to deal with it. Unfortunately, teams that aren't given everything to them right away have to go through. They have to go through and, reset and rebuild. You don't get to, practically pick and choose your squad no matter what.
Yeah.
Ryan Donato with some comments now. Korshinash made some ridiculous saves for us tonight, and that's all you can ask for. He gave us a chance. We all know how quickly things can change. We've been playing with that mentality that these are must-win games. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, but we need that continued effort. Okay, well, let's put it this way. Those are must-win games. You haven't won the one in 7. Sometimes it doesn't go your way, but you need the continued effort. But I also thought some places they got slow. They got slow, and it's just and got a little lazy. I mean, with all these penalties that they've been taking, and we can question some if they are or not, but it just seems unacceptable. And I would hope that the organization thinks that what's going on here is unacceptable.
I honestly thought that these two games against Vegas, I thought Vegas was not as sharp. But like these two games were winnable. And I felt the penalty troubles in the second period really did cost momentum for the Sharks, because it was 2-1 like midway through the second period. But like the Sharks got into penalty trouble. Erik Karlsson got a penalty. And then Ferraro got a penalty. It made it 2-1, 2-2, and then 3-2 in less than, I think, like 4 minutes. So, that little stretch right there where you're just taking nonsense penalties and not cashing in on your penalty or cashing in on your power play, it's just stupid.
That's where it comes to down. Like Bob said, that's where this comes to town. When you go 2 for 28 on the power play in your last 9 games, that's a huge difference between winning and losing, especially since, again, you had a lead tonight, you had a lead Monday night. When you played them last month, you had a lead on them before, and just fall apart. And what was the case? Vegas cashed in on their power plays. And you know what? That's the difference. So, moving onward later in the period, Tuck takes a roughing call, then is back out on the ice. He gets the essential game winner to make it 3-2. One of those back-breaking, goals in the last 5 minutes that we've seen from the Golden Knights against the Sharks. It's either like they score in the first 5 or the last 5, and just come on. And honestly, in the third period, I thought Vegas looked more refreshed than anything. And that's also becoming a theme for this team, even from night one.
Yeah, you're right.
It's just, the conditioning now has to be questioned. And granted, everything that they've gone through and everything, I'm not even going to talk about Arizona because I think that's so beside the wayside now. But I mean, just to have the legs in the third. I mean, we've seen it more and more than anything else. I mean, that leads are blown, and it just seems like that's kind of what's been killing this team. Granted, the lead was blown in the second, not the third tonight.
One stat I've always said this season is the Sharks have blown 8 leads when they've scored first. 8 leads. If you're looking for a point of the season where they've just, they could have made the playoffs, that's it.
Yeah.
In January and February, that was a big issue. They've really stopped that in March and April. But you're talking about blowing a 3-1 lead against Vegas, blowing a 4-1 lead against St. Louis. I can go down the list if you really wanted me to. But
I remember the second game of the season. They had that game against Arizona, and they lost, thanks to Phil Kessel. I mean, it's just...
Of all people.
Hot
dog man, Phil Kessel.
We will talk about Phil Kessel in a little bit too. But then Marchessault makes it 4-2. You can thank William Karlsson for screening Koshinash on there. Mucho Salt, is making sure we're wasting our time with the Sharks this season, I guess is what he would probably say. But his little mouth just keeps running and running, and I'm sure there were comments from him saying, this isn't a rivalry anymore.
No, it hasn't been a rivalry in the regular season for quite a while, and it's probably going to be that while for a couple of years, just because of how things are with the Sharks, and that's nothing to do with the players. That's more or less not even the coaching. It's Doug Wilson, and I'll ask you, Puck Guy, do you think Wilson comes back next season?
He'll be back. I think just because he has a good rapport with Hasso. And honestly, outside, outside, I don't know who's out there GM wise. I mean, who's out there that will replace him? I mean, if there's somebody that's got a better record that's out there that can replace him, that's available, okay, you can maybe get that going. But
I mean, what has been kind of the talk is that maybe Doug Wilson Jr. might replace him, but honestly, that's just as bad. That's just as worse.
I mean, I don't even think he's ready yet. He just took over director of scouting, a couple of years ago when they drafted Ryan Merkley. It's still early on to see how he's going to be. Of course, DW can help DW Jr., but honestly, I think it's a no doubter that it's Doug. Doug will be back next year, So, and that's how it is. And like Ian says again, the score masked how not close this game was. Sharks got a couple really nice shots, one and done plays. When you have one and done plays along with a crappy power play, it's going to bite you in the butt. And not getting that sustained pressure with it. Yeah, they put up 33 shots, but I'm surprised it was 33. Granted, the defense calmed down everything, only allowing 21 shots in the last 2 periods. But Vegas sent the message early on, stayed the course, and waited for them to fall apart.
Yep.
Took advantage to it. And like AJ said, no matter who the GM is, they still have to deal with the same contracts.
That's still not it's still not a good excuse not to fire him, but like honestly, it still sucks.
Yeah. It does, because Sharks fans, we've gone through a lot, and those have been here like yours truly since day one. To see the pain going through, and now I'm getting shades of 93 again. Now that we've lost 7 in a row, trade deadline's gone and go forth. So when we get to 10, there's no magical Joe Thornton coming over to save us. Um, it's just is what it is. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, right now you're stuck in a rut. You're stuck in a rut. You have to find your way to get. It's not to compare the Suez Canal thing with the Sharks, but I mean it's kind of like you're stuck with everything, and you need to get some room to get out, and eventually you'll right the ship again.
the only real way for the Sharks to get out of this is if Erik Karlsson shows up or if Timo Meier shows up. The people that Doug Wilson banked on. And those two players are probably gonna have to carry the Sharks, but like they haven't showed up all season. Erik Karlsson, like you would think he would make the simple plays this season, or even like tonight where you had a rookie goaltender, but like he was making just uncrisp characters, bad passes, making the flashy passes that would lead to turnovers for Vegas. A lot of times, just I felt like he was creating offensive chances for Vegas way too much. There was like a chance in the offensive zone where he just passed the puck straight to Vegas. I think there's plenty of talent with Erik Karlsson, but like I think he's more geared towards a winning culture than a retooling or what state of the Sharks is right now.
Well, and I think granted, Ottawa got close one year. I think in 2017 in the conference final, lost to Pittsburgh, but at the same time, there was a lot of talent on those Ottawa teams with Karlsson, and there's a decent amount of talent with this hockey club in San Jose. But I mean, honestly, the talent isn't there on there. I don't know. And I don't want to say you have to dumb down the plays, but maybe you make a simple play rather than making a fancy play for Erik Karlsson. I think that's more so than anything what you have to look at.
So we can keep on going on Erik Karlsson. We've done that all season.
Yes. No, I mean he's been the punching bag for Sharks fans everywhere. Some more comments from the locker room here. Mark Edward Vlasic, it doesn't matter who you're playing, we want to win. We're still chasing that 4th spot, and once you're in, anything can happen.
Oh, please. Please. Shut up.
And the worst part is that he doubles down with it, literally, since he's at Vegas. Coyotes lost, so we're still in it. We can get there. We just have to get points now. Kosinash played really, really well. I'll give you that. He played really, really well. You didn't help things with the penalty or not taking your man. That cost, the Sharks a goal.
Or screening him for the 4th goal that let,
Right.
Please, can we stop talking about playoffs? It's just not going to happen with the way it is right now.
But that's the thing, I'll pull up the standings. With Arizona losing tonight, I mean, the Sharks had a opportunity again. I mean, just think if they win 3 of those games that they lost in the 7-game losing streak. Al, we would be up 2 points on a playoff spot right now if we had just won half of the games in the streak. And it's just frustrating to see that you have the opportunity, but I guess #Team Tank.
Like I want to believe, but this team has played like frauds all season, and you're expecting them to just snap into action just like the last 11 or 12 games of the season. No, they haven't shown it all season. And I thought, bear in mind what Eden said last game, but like they haven't helped any goaltender out in net all season. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Couture's been injured. Myers played like crap all season. Erik Karlsson's been a ghost, or has been, frankly, a painful, has hurt the team all season.
Mm-hmm.
You can go down the list. It's not happening. And as soon as you realize that, it's easier to watch the games. But like, it's not happening.
It's not happening, but it's unacceptable to have a 7-game losing streak.
Yes.
I mean, if you gave an effort, like I'll give them credit for, yes, they blew a 2-0 lead on Monday, but I'll give an effort. They played with Vegas and they played hard with them on Monday night. You know, if you were showing me that consistently and we're losing, okay, I'll give that to you. But when you lay an egg like this, the 2 games against Anaheim against a third-string goaltender,
Yes.
then you fall apart against LA. You blow Arizona. Last time they were in Vegas, they had a lead and blew it. All of those, you could have been in something. That's what gets me infuriated about this team, is that this team sometimes wants to show up. They're okay. Okay, we're okay. Or they get cocky. It's like, yeah, not even close. Here's my apple. Yeah, not even close. That's not even close. My best game. Okay, you know what, Erik? You know what? I'm gonna get on you for once. Show up every damn game. Timo Meier. Actually, I don't know. Do you show up at all? Yes, the puck bounced off of your shin pad and you got a goal tonight. Okay, but you know what? Don't fucking quit on your fans. Don't fucking quit on the team, because right now you guys look splintered, defeated, tired, and you're not showing up. I mean, shoot. Patrick Marleau broke a big important record last night, and those fuckers who think that, you know, oh, that's not a big deal. You know, it is a big deal. But you know what? The Sharks surely didn't think it was, because, I mean, that game they should have dominated. They should have dominated that game, and it's an embarrassment that they played the way they did on Monday night. Yeah, they played good, but it's an embarrassment that they lost that one.
You would have thought they would have gone 5-2, just like, or even like a positive record leading up to that game, gearing up to that event where Patrick Marleau eventually breaks the record. Like, you would have had some momentum up to that night. But even losing the games against LA or Anaheim, something was just let out that night where they just couldn't get back the momentum. And we talk about momentum all the time, but like, this team's playing hurt, and every team's playing hurt.
Yeah.
But the Sharks have just lost.
Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead now. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, and I mean, yeah, everybody's playing hurt. Couture, something's definitely wrong with him. He is not 100%. You know, a lot of these guys are really fit. But it's like, come on. It's like, shoot. And again, I see a lot of people getting upset because I curse, and I apologize for that. Usually, you guys know I usually don't curse, but it's just infuriating that this team didn't show up, tonight. They didn't show up for Monday.
You should see the Discord.
Yeah, of course. But speaking of Marleau, another milestone tonight. We'll give him some love here. Becomes just the 4th player in NHL history with 900 games in a row. He's number 4 all time in the longest Ironman streaks all in the NHL. Keith Yandel started his streak just a couple weeks prior at 913. In just a day or two, he'll tie Gary Unger, which, you know what? Fun fact, Gary Unger, former head coach of the Roller Hockey International's Oakland Skates. Yeah. There's your give me that stat of the night, So Yandel at 913, Marleau at 900, Phil Kessel's still active. Those hot dogs are doing awesome. Must get a deal at Costco at 891. I don't know what they put in them, but hey, good for them. And then of course Brent Burns, down the list at 14 all time with 586. So kind of cool there to have. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. To have overall. So, and congrats to Patty. Another night for a milestone 900, 900 games in a row. I mean, that again, nothing that's glamorous like goals or points or assists, like a former Shark Joe Thornton. Oh yeah, boys, yeah, way to whip it out in the video against Marlowe. Yeah.
This was a huge week for Marlowe because it really does cement his Hall of Fame candidacy in many ways. He doesn't have any hardware. He never has been a Hart, finalist. And this having the Gordie Howe games played accomplishment really does set him apart from a lot of players in the AHL. Passing, Gordie Howe, passing Mark Messier, passing people that have been figures in this league for quite a long time. And also like playing 900 straight games. Like that's just a huge accomplishment. But I don't think he would get into the Hockey Hall of Fame if he didn't start this many games in a row. He really needed this record to get into the Hall of Fame. Yeah. If he gets into the Hall of Fame.
Again, I will battle and say, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I think he gets in. He doesn't have the big shiny thing. He has 2 Olympic gold medals. I'll give him that. But Ryan, you're right. Marlowe's teammates let him down all week, plain and simple. And we don't know how much these guys are hurt. But at the same time, it's like you are right on the cusp. That little extra effort, that little push will just get it to be,
Yep. I mean, I don't want to say that they can just turn it around these next 11 or 12 games, but, they can possibly have another locker room meeting. They can possibly get back and healthy, but like, it's a tough road because theoretically that should have been the stretch where they've played Anaheim, they played Vegas, leading up to tonight, where frankly they just not taking advantage of their opportunity.
Yeah. And that's the thing. So the Sharks lose this one 5-2. Vegas, with the win, clinches a playoff spot. They're the first team in the league to clinch a playoff spot. So just a double whammy on top of everything else. But following the morning skate, goaltender Robin Lehner had some choice words about the NHL because of some of the things that the league had promised once players were starting to get vaccinated.
Some point we got to start looking at the mental health of people around us, not just NHL, but everyone in society, and see how can we start getting back to normalcy, because the problem is going to be huge. But being lied to us about things changing to force us to take the vaccine, unacceptable. And to now, when we have taken the vaccine, to have the excuse of saying, nah, we're not changing because of competitive advantage. It's outrageous.
So a lot in there, and I know Leonard went on Twitter to kind of explain himself a little bit more. But what do you think from all of this? Because again, we saw what these guys went through during the bubble, and while the bubble went through flawlessly as possible, there's a lot of restrictions that the league has quietly put into these players to make sure that they don't get COVID right away. And granted, we've had a lot of issues going on. We saw Buffalo, New Jersey early in the year. We saw Vancouver, not too long ago. They just got back to playing. Colorado is missing Philip Grubauer, which probably facilitated the trade for Devin Dubnyk, perhaps. But I mean, what do you take from it? Because there's a lot of things going on here, and he's right about the mental health, because it's frustrating to not be able to get out and do things.
So I think it's important to note that Robert Leonard has bipolar, and the worst thing you can do, and take in mind I don't have bipolar, I don't know people who have bipolar, but um, one of the worst things you can do for someone who has bipolar is isolation. And I think he's speaking more on that front, being isolated, being away from people. I don't think he's necessarily, this is just my take on it, but like, as someone who, like, I got vaccinated, you know, felt great, but like, I think the fear of maybe he just wants getting vaccinated, and that's more of my thing, but like, having to just be isolated for someone and being having your mental health be endangered from it, that's more, I think he's more his issue with it.
And you know what? It's a huge thing, and I don't blame him at all. I think a lot of people would say the same thing, that we want to get back to normalcy, have some form of normalcy. You know, I got vaccinated, a little over 2.5 weeks ago, and some sort of normalcy was going to Vegas. That probably wouldn't have happened, beforehand. That was something me and my girlfriend had talked about not doing anything, until we're safe. And you know what? That's the thing, And we're seeing a couple of people in the chat saying, yeah, we have bipolar, along with PTSD and ADHD and being isolated, and it sucks. Yeah, I totally get that, and that's frustrating, and especially early on in this whole pandemic. I mean, early on, where it was strict shutdowns and isolations and everything, to go and then to go into a bubble, it's even more so. And now that you've gone, a full calendar year, you've gone more so. There's even slight rumblings of a bubble again. I mean, it's got to be exhausting in the mental state for these players, and not just in players at all, but also in general with everybody.
Yeah, when the current season was, in the talks of, getting started, HLPA kind of pushed back about another bubble, having multiple bubbles, having a West bubble, bubble for each division. And I kind of feel bad for him, because I kind of see points for why the Angel wanted to have a bubble set up, but like, I think it's also important why, Tuukka Rask, why he decided not to, essentially just leave and go see his family, take care of his family, instead of being there for his teammates, which makes perfect sense, but he got a lot of hate for it. And I think, honestly, it probably jeopardized a lot of his Hall of Fame candidacy down the road, when it's all said and done. So, and I'm sure he doesn't really mind that, but like, there's, I think the HLPA is probably going to push back like once again on another bubble, especially in the playoffs, just because more people are getting vaccinated. We're now at 50% adults in the United States, and we are now at April?
Yeah.
Let's just say 70% in May. I think you can, and we're starting to see more and more fans in the stadium, in stands, especially you. Like, it's starting to return back to normal, but like, it's very, very slow.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think for a lot of people, not to get all great, all serious here, because this podcast is supposed to be a distraction and fun and everything, but when it comes to when we're crossing it with the league, we got to talk about it. But once we get that normalcy going again, and again, it is going to take some time. It's going to be slow. It's going to be frustrating. Rob with the super chat donation. Rob, thanks, bud. Pandemic has really messed with my anxiety. I'm glad I'm vaccinated now. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people have developed anxiety. I mean, I definitely feel very anxious. You can definitely say sleeping is another issue, and not to compare it to anything else, but I mean, just to have some comparison what everything comes out about this. I mean, there's going to be a lot of mental issues that you have to take care of, Another super chat from Burge7F91. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Of course, if you use the super donation, we do get a portion of that, and it goes back to help support the show and pay for, all of our expenses. Burge7F91 saying, how many NHLers have gotten vaccinated so far, if any? What about in Canada? I haven't seen any info on the players getting vaccinated. Now that it's really opened up in the United States, it's good. It's been getting better that it's going to be vaccinated, and there might be some people that would be against it. But Canada is having a really tough time with vaccinations. I mean, Ian's mentioned that before.
Yeah, I'm sure Ian can talk about it if he wants, but the United States is way ahead of most developed countries in terms of getting people vaccinated. It sounds like Canada is not as, they're a little bit behind. Some of that might also be because they've closed the border as soon as COVID became a pandemic. There's a lot of issues, and it will all get sorted out. It's part of the reason why the divisions got shifted around, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. And in case you didn't see it, the game that was scheduled for Friday night in San Jose for the Sharks in Vegas was originally moved to May 10th. It's now been stretched out to May 12th. If you haven't heard about that one. So the last game of the season will be May 12th in San Jose. Sharks and Golden Knights for that one. Will the Sharks get a win over the Golden Knights? That be said. And to everyone out there, I hope we covered that in the best way possible. In regards to everything with the anxiety and the bipolarness, with everything that's gone on with everything. If not, please reach into my DMs so that way I can respond to you in a better way. That being said, let's make this a little bit lighter. Jerry F made a donation via Venmo, so we will get to your NHL wraparound, and then a hint of an AHL wraparound. So let's get to this. Blackhawks with a third period comeback against Nashville. They won 5-4 in overtime. Nashville clinging to that fourth spot, but Dallas and Chicago are coming for you with that. Hagel with not a bagel gets the game winner for Chicago. Moving onward, Minnesota does the Sharks and Blues a favor, beating the Coyotes 4-1. The Coyotes stand pat at 45. The Blues, who've been on another rough losing streak, are at 44 with a few. They have 3 games in hand, and so they would most likely be the fourth spot. Indeed for that one. The other game tonight, Canadians beat the Oilers 4-3. McDavid with his 25th on the season in a losing effort. Josh Anderson with 2 goals. Tyler Toffoli with his 22nd. I mean, Toffoli really making the Canucks pay dearly for not signing him in the offseason. So that is your wraparound in that case. And in the AHL...
Ooh, Barracuda!
There we go. The San Jose Barracuda played practically simultaneously with the Sharks tonight as they went up against the San Diego Gulls at the Shark Tank, and it wasn't pretty. Final score, Gulls 6, Barracuda 2 on that one. Your goal scorers for tonight, Joachim Blichfeld. He got his 12th of the season. Alex True to try to cut the lead to 1, but San Diego would score 3 goals in the second period. Gee, what a shock! They're like the big squad, So,
yep.
So that is your update around the scoreboard and around the NHL this evening. Again, the Sharks. If you want to look at the standings again, if you're like me and are hoping that they somehow get the get into this thing, you have Coyotes at 45, with 9 games left. St. Louis has 4 games in hand. So like Al and I said, there's definitely that to look forward. Sharks are still in. LA is still in it. They have 13 games left at 40. I wouldn't be surprised if LA, leapfrogs the Sharks in that one. But definitely there's the top 3, and then there's the middle 4. and then Anaheim.
Who we lost to.
Who we lost to a third string goaltender. At this point, it might as well have been a 42-year-old Zamboni driver who works for them.
I mean, I'm glad we're not in Toronto, because right now we're just bad, but we're not like with playoff hopes. We're not with aspirations. We're just bad,
and we feel bad. But I wish I had the clip for it, but my girlfriend had gotten a message from Steve Dangle about what he thinks of our show. In fact, I'll try and make a play of it here. So, but Steve Dangle.
He does have his own podcast called Teal Town After Dark. That sounds like hockey, but in underwear.
So this begs the question, Al Martinet, are you only in your underwear right now?
No.
All right. I'm in what I thought were my...
I don't talk about AJ though. Let's see. Maybe.
Don't poke the AJ. Don't poke the AJ. All right. In case you missed anything, or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. Of course, please hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. We really would appreciate it. And of course, if anything, just check us out at tealtownusa.com, where we have everything that we put together. Of course, the Pucknologists go on every Sunday night, along with us doing post games after everyone. We do have one more super chat. John, is that a PS5 on the bookshelf?
It's real.
And it's apparently awesome.
Yeah. Let's just go with that.
So
I don't want to insult an entire fan base.
No. So that'll do it for us. Sharks get some time off. They're probably heading home tonight. They'll get some rest. They'll be back at it on Saturday against let's take a look. Let's see who the Sharks are playing on Saturday, and it is it's Minnesota. Oh boy. Okay.
Another playoff team, right?
Yay. So Saturday 6 p.m. Minnesota versus the Sharks. And then a big one going into next week. You have 2 at home against the Desert Dogs. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. If they can get Minnesota, we're right back into this thing. I'm telling you. I know Ian's down for Team Tank. I know we should probably be going for a top 5 pick. But damn it, come on. We're right there. Anywho. Yep. Al, your final thoughts on where the people can find you?
Honestly, it comes down to those games against Arizona. If they don't win both those games, it's over. But long season. But you can continue to follow me on Twitter at Al Martinet. Always talking hockey, always talking PlayStation, always talking. But always there. Hope to see you there.
All right. I am at PuckGuy14 on the Twitter and the Instagram. As suggested by Sharky Boy, what's our lottery pick if the season ended right now? Currently, the Sharks have the 8th best odds in the lottery. So let's have some fun. Let's do the let's hit that. Let's do the simulation lottery, and we have the Sharks staying put at 8th, with New Jersey jumping up 3 spots to win the draft lottery again. Really? Of course. So that'll do it for us. The conversation now continues on Discord. A bunch of us will be waiting in there and checking us out on our audio chat. So join in the fun. It's really fun. And I probably need to put this pod to bed and then go to bed myself because honestly, it's been a long day. So until Saturday night, where the Sharks take on the Wild, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Have a great night, everyone. We will see you Saturday night.